You're listening to Mouth Mentality, where we talk to everyday people about everyday food. Welcome to Mouth Mentality. I am Heidi Marsh, and here we talk to everyday people about everyday food. And my guest today is Elle on the show.
Hi, Heidi.
How are you feeling?
Good, good. So happy to be here today.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
This is so great. I met Elle probably about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Here in Los Angeles, and Elle has some pretty interesting stories about herself, about food, and we're just going to kind of dive right into that.
I'm ready.
Right, so I just want you to give everyone the background and set the scene and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
I'm originally from Somalia, but I was raised in Saudi Arabia. So I come from a very East African household. Mom and dad were like, hi. Mom and dad were like really amazing when it came to influence, like making sure that the influence of our culture was in the household because we were growing up in Saudi Arabia. But also growing up there, I went to school over there, so I have a lot of the Saudi Arabian culture in me as well because I lived there for 21 years.
Wow.
So yeah, very international family. We traveled a lot growing up, and we have influence from everywhere.
That's amazing. Yes,
Yeah.
she has like a plethora of a lot of experience, a lot of people, places, things, and a lot of different styles of cuisine.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Definitely.
can you tell me a little bit about what was your relationship with food growing up?
So my relationship with food growing up was an interesting relationship actually because I was a very much a picky eater. My mom had to trick me a lot when it comes to food. I was the only person in my family, in my household, that my mom used to cook separately for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had really interesting relationship with onions. I never liked them until this day. I truly don't like them. Other than that, I think also my adulthood and my adult relationship with food has shifted because when I moved to the US, it was a different food culture, it was a different food experience as well. So it kind of opened up my eyes a little bit on different international food because there's always that American twist with foods over here. So it wasn't just like the authentic Chinese food or the authentic Mexican food. That was the American twist to those kind of foods. So it was kind of interesting, and I'm still in a very interesting relationship with food till this day.
Yeah, and I like how you come at it from an aspect of ingredient versus psychology. You know, a lot of times when we talk about relationship with food, people go right to the psychology, where you went right to the ingredient. I'm a picky eater. I don't like this. I had to have separate meals. I remember my mom, she used to put sour cream on the peas and tell me it was whipped cream so I'd eat my peas.
It's very interesting that you mentioned the sour cream. Was she putting sour cream on top of your?
On top of my peas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom used to put ketchup on top of everything for me because she figured out that I really like ketchup. And until this day, I have a very interesting relationship with ketchup. With it's like the side of my food, as you can tell.
I know. She comes into my office and I made this beautiful salmon dish and she grabs the ketchup and I'm like, okay. And for me, like, that's not like an insult or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, people like what they like and we have to respect that.
Yeah. But you remember that I also gave you the disclaimer. I was like, I hope that you don't think this is weird, but I eat everything with ketchup. Almost everything with ketchup. So
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I eat everything with hot sauce. It's just a different hot sauce for different cuisines. You know, I bring my lovely chicken dinner home and I douse it in crystal or make my ramen and I put Cholula in it, which is like, you know, or sriracha. It just depends on if I'm feeling Latin or Korean at the time.
Yeah.
So tell me about what cooking was like in your household. Who cooked?
My mom cooked all of the time, and my mom is an incredible self-learned chef. She used to make us fresh bread every single morning before going to school.
Wow.
She used to make us fresh cookies. She used to make her own jam as well. So everything in our household was fresh. Mom cooked 3 meals a day for us, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She really was taking a huge pride at her food as well. Uh, but she was the main cook in our household.
Was there ever a time when you cooked with your mom growing up?
I have 3 older sisters.
Okay.
So I was number 4. So she used to cook with my sisters more than anything. And then my sisters took over the food more than her. But I was kind of the kid that really flipped away, used to be there when it comes to food time. But even when my sisters used to cook for me and my siblings, my mom still cooked for me because she knew of the kind of food that I liked. And she kind of was like, I got the special treatment a little bit away from my
Right.
sisters because of my food preferences.
So tell me about a childhood meal, something that, like, if you think about your childhood, what was like the one meal or the one thing that stands out to you?
My mom, there is a very amazing Somali dish. It's like beris with hilib or beris with chicken. The beris is rice for us.
Okay.
And hilib is meat. I don't eat meat that much, but I eat chicken. I still eat chicken. So making the rice with our own spices, which we talked about a little bit off
Right.
camera about the hawash that I was telling you about.
Wash, yeah.
Yeah. My mom makes like a really amazing rice that has like, it's a very colorful rice with like the chicken and the sauteed vegetables. So that used to be like one of my favorite meals growing up.
Would you say that was like the comfort dish?
That was the comfort dish.
Like
And
the go-to comfort?
yeah, and Somalis, I know like Caribbeans, they eat their food with plantains, fried plantains. In Somalia, we eat our food with raw banana.
Oh,
So
really?
you need to have a raw banana all the time with your food. So the mixture of between like the spices, the chicken, the sauteed vegetables, and the side of banana used to be like amazing. Until this day, I can't get enough of it. And
Right.
the only time that I eat it is when I'm at my mom's place. So
Do you eat bananas on the regular?
yes,
Yeah, so you
with my
enjoy
food.
raw bananas
Yes.
on the regular.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, so it still brings back those kind of memories.
My banana for me is like out the door, in the car quick, gotta get that fruit in today, or my knees hurt, so I'm gonna eat banana.
I
No.
rarely, which is really funny, I rarely would eat banana by itself. It
Huh.
needs to be accompanied with like
It has
a full-
friends. The
Yeah,
banana has
yeah.
friends.
and it's a full meal usually.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess I never like equated any, like the dinner roll goes with the meal, in America. It's like, oh, you gotta have that dinner roll, grab it at the end. But everything that we've had like growing up was just like a dish of itself. There was nothing that was that was the same on every dish. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have a banana with everything. We didn't have
Yeah.
a something with everything. It was like, here's your spaghetti and maybe some garlic bread, or here's your meat and potatoes and vegetable, and that's it. So how has your relationship with food evolved, say in your teens or when you transitioned into the United States? Was there any significant changes in how you eat?
Oh, 100%. I would say the most significant changes. I grew up in a household where my mom cooked everything fresh and transitioned into the US and living alone. I was introduced very fast to the fast food industry. So that was like really a huge change for us because in Saudi Arabia, we didn't really eat that much fast food. Mom was, responsible for the food for the whole house, what we eat, our diet. So I never had to struggle with figuring out what's the healthy choices when it comes to fast food, what's the bad choices when it comes to fast food. So I've learned that in my, I want to say early 20s when I got here in my
Right.
early 20s.
Right.
Yeah. And that started a whole issue with my digestive system and how sensitive that I am because I never knew that I had food sensitivities until I introduced those kind of food into my system.
Yeah, what a culture trip. Like, so your culture and the way that you grew up and with your mother home, cooking and preparing fresh meals, to having this opportunity to, eat a bunch of fast food or food on the go, American food that's like, I it's very over processed. It's like it's not a new thing. It's over processed. It's like my parents wouldn't take us out to fast food all the time. I grew up in California, and fast food for us was like a treat. And I think, my mom and my parents knew that it wasn't good for us, like, to be having that for every meal. And nowadays, it's so different for the youth because it's like the quick thing. Everyone's so on the go, and so they're consistently eating fast food and then trying to figure out the healthy choice, right? We have all these healthy choices and in the fast food industry because we want something quick, but now we want it also healthy, which is
really hard to get.
It's really hard to get.
Yeah, so it's kind of sometimes come to choosing the lesser evil and
Right.
what you want to go, where you want to go, because you know that this choice is a little bit healthier than this choice, but the most healthiest choice is for you to cook at home, and you know your ingredients and you know your groceries and what you're getting, but also how fast we're living and how much responsibilities that we have. It's kind of like there's not enough time of the day to always be cooking at home.
Right. And then you have these, let's talk about meal preps.
Yeah.
I know you've done meal prepping for yourself, for the communities. I think there's going to be a point in the show where I actually just order a bunch of meal prep opportunities and just like try to maybe compare them and see how good they really are. It's an opportunity if you haven't really cooked or you haven't really tried a lot of different things. If you bring in these, like Blue Apron, for example, they have all kinds of different cuisines, and you can kind of learn from them in a way and make something that you normally wouldn't make.
Yeah, and I think it's also that it gives you a very safe limit of experimenting without being like overwhelming. You don't have to go to the grocery shop and like figure out what you're going to do. It comes with the ingredients that you want. It comes with the grocery items that you want, and it comes with the recipe. So I think it takes all of that anxiety out of trying to figure out what you're going to make. So I think it's a really great choice for a lot of people, and it would open, like a venue of like how they can like have a better relationship with cooking. I tried a lot of them.
Have you? Okay.
I really have.
I didn't know it. I didn't know this to be true about you.
Yeah.
So
I tried a lot of them because I thought that it would be easier for me to do it that way, and it's like more less time consuming.
Right.
I don't have to, like, it cuts time of going grocery shopping and all of that. And it also cuts the time of you thinking what you need to make. I would say I still kind of prefer going to the grocery store. There is a different relationship that I have when you're touching your tomatoes and you're figuring out what kind of eggplants, or you're looking at yourself. There is a more intimate relationship when you're doing it that way.
Right.
Especially if you have the basic levels of actually cooking.
Right, you kind of know what goes together. You kind of have an idea of what you like and what you like to make, how much time you have to make the thing.
Yeah.
It also, I think,
but that's just for me.
Yeah, I think it gives you like an opportunity to maybe get creative too, because you might run into an ingredient or an item that's in season that you might not have ever worked with, and it can inspire an entire dish for you.
Yeah.
And so tell me about meal prepping. How does it feel to make like massive quantities of food for you?
I actually enjoy making massive quantities of food than actually making food for myself only. And I don't know why this is something that I never really dug deep down to figure out why it is. I would actually feel bored if I'm home alone and I'm making a meal for myself. But if you tell me like, oh my God, it's Thanksgiving and I'm gonna cook for 16 people, I'm gonna be like, I'm so excited. There's something about feeding.
It's like the giving of it.
Yeah, it's the giving of it.
Yeah.
So I enjoy making more like quantities of food. Even when I used to meal prep when I was more athletic in college, and I used to meal prep, like I used to go grocery shopping every Sunday. I used to meal prep 24 meals for the week.
Oh, wow.
And it has to be like, lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I used to have like also I used to make my own menus with all of my ingredients and look at my macros and my nutrition values. And that was like for fitness goals, health goals. I was very, very committed doing it. And it was like such a routine. It was like on a clock. I really enjoyed doing that for a very long time. But
I didn't know that about you either.
Yeah.
So
yeah, life happened. I got way more busy, and kind of it didn't. it's supposed to be always a priority, but became less of a priority with my lifestyle lately. So, and
Right.
my responsibilities, but there was also a very intimate relationship there where I enjoyed doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And,
it's
and it doesn't, I'm sorry not to cut you off, but it
no.
doesn't get boring when you're eating the same meal. Like if you're doing 4 meals of the same lunch, you can do it 2 times for lunch, 2 times for dinner. So you can like actually kind of switch it,
Yeah.
even though that you know what you're eating for the week. So it doesn't get to be boring.
No, it's you can kind of mix and match, like you said. Like when I do meal preps, we've done meal preps here off and on, my wife and I, and I'll just roast like a whole tray of 3 different proteins, and then I'll do like 3 different vegetables and 3 different starches, and then kind of mix and match them in the meals themselves, so that you're not opening the same thing and adding the seasonings and adding the spices and adding the sauces can really dress things up. So it's not boring, right?
Yeah. You can spice it up in that kind of way.
And it adds nutritional value when you add seasoning and spice. So
Yeah.
a lot of people just think they've got to eat dry chicken and dry broccoli and stuff. No, you need fats and oils and seasoning and spices and herbs to digest everything else, really.
Yeah.
So,
And when I used to do it that way, I used to have like really major fitness goals. So I used to know when I can add more carbs, when do I need to add more fat, when do I need to add more protein. So it was like a very rigid fitness schedule
oh wow.
for me. Yeah, when I used to work out a lot.
When you work out a lot, I know. And you touched on something that's interesting. It's like the feeling of giving to others when you're cooking a large meal, it feels different than when you're just giving to yourself.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane? Like it's a little crazy because we go out and we want to please people, and I'm a chef, right?
Yeah.
So I cook for people every day, and I look for that gratification of yes, you like it, yes, you like me, you like my food. That's so wonderful.
I love your food.
And then I'll come home and eat a bag of chips and a candy bar and be like, I'm not giving what I give others to myself.
But isn't it interesting that you even said it that way, that you come home and you eat a bag of chips and candy? If you're cooking for an X amount of people, a large amount of people, you tend to not eat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's always been that way. Yeah.
And I don't know where is that, but like everybody who cooks, like when my mom used to cook for us, she used to be like the last person who would eat, or she will eat like just a little bit.
It's like we get full on smells.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm snacking on carrots. I still crave like raw carrots every day because I used to make soup every day for a job that I had for years, and it was very consistent that I would eat raw vegetables in the morning. That would be like my breakfast.
Yeah.
And I still crave that way. I still crave raw fruits and vegetables every morning, like, but then I won't eat for several hours until after everybody is satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a timeless thing. It's probably nothing new to us and nothing new to your mom. It probably goes way, way back.
Yeah, but I never knew what was the relationship between when you cook for people that you don't tend to eat, and when you're cooking for yourself, it kind of becomes a little bit boring.
Right.
I don't know, where is the line?
I know, it's interesting. And I always say I'm living on smells, and coffee and wishes and dreams. The idea of broccoli, right? That's the future of food. Is like
I hate broccoli. I hate broccoli.
I know. I tried to feed her some cauliflower, roasted cauliflower and artichoke. She's like, I don't like vegetables. I'm like, well, that's cool. That's cool.
I ate the artichoke.
You did.
Yeah, I love artichoke.
Yeah. High in iron, high in protein. It's like I said, it's basically meat that you're eating there. I love artichokes, and my mom used to take and boil whole artichokes, and we pick off the leaves and dip them in butter and clean the leaves with our teeth.
That's so interesting.
And that was a treat meal too, and they only when they're in season in California. And I would, as much as I hated those green peas, man, a couple years later, I'm in there with the artichoke, but it was really all about the butter, I think. Have you completely disconnected from the foods of your upbringing, or do you still kind of have those foods in your life?
I think I still have them in my life, and I think those are the foods that until this day I actually gravitate towards. um, I do think that it's my main dishes and the dishes that I love. And I think also the kind of twist that I made for those dishes as well. If I'm cooking for other people or if I'm cooking for myself to please, let's say, everybody, I have to like Americanize it in a little bit of a way.
Right.
Because some of the spices can be like a little bit too strong for everybody. But when I grew up eating them, it was the norm. So I figured out how to tone it down also for the liking for other people. But I would say it's mainly the food that I gravitate towards until this day.
Really.
I look at other food as the treats.
As the treats,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And your classic cultural cuisine is like it's like the bread and butter we say here
Yeah.
in America, right?
It's the rice, it's the pasta, it's the chicken. I know my mom and my family, they eat a lot of goat meat and lamb. But since I was young, I never ate that much beef. So to me, it's more like the chicken and the fish, like the pescatarian options. And we used to eat a lot of fish also at home.
Okay.
Yeah, growing up. So I still, hi baby. I love this love.
I know,
I'm coming every day.
she's-
Like we have to record this all the time.
Every day. She's all about you today,
Yeah.
Paula. What do you need,
I
pumpkin?
love this.
What do you need? You're so needy. You're never this needy.
I
You just like, I
know.
want to be on the show. Get me some chicken.
This is
'Cause we're
great.
talking about chicken.
Yeah, that's what it
That's
is.
you're a chicken nugget.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
is.
What's up, baby? I want to know like where you're at today. What are your wellness goals when it
Yeah.
comes to diet, to exercise, to motivation? Like, where are you at today?
Yeah. Well, I want to say that all of that has changed during the pandemic.
Right.
The pandemic kind of changed the relationship that I had with food, the relationship that I had with comfort food, my activity level. So, in the product of that, I actually have gained about 50 pounds in the last couple of years. So, I think that right now, my relationship with wellness and my relationship with uh, motivation and exercising is picking back up from the nutritional information and the nutritional guidelines that I used to have.
Mhm.
The mindful eating for me is not there yet. But
Right.
it's more trying to eat at the same time, trying to eat healthy food. Because skipping meals is something really big for me lately.
Right.
And eating at weird times also happened during the pandemic because working from home and maybe I'm not gonna eat breakfast, or let's say breakfast was not a thing for me
Right.
when we were in the pandemic. But breakfast was a thing for me when I used to go to the office. So it used to be a meal that I used to have to have. Breakfast kind of fell off, so it started to become lunch, dinner, and late night snacks.
Okay.
So that also relationship with the food that you're eating, the time that you're eating changed for me. So now going back to more of a normal life, a normal life after COVID, after the pandemic, I'm actually starting to implement those kind of routines again.
Right.
Yeah.
Routine in eating is huge, right? I think for me, if I'm not in any kind of routine, which I developed a routine in pandemic, conversely, quite opposite. It was like I had to have a routine for my day. I had to have some kind of a structure.
Interesting.
This is when I'm gonna do this activity. This is when I'm gonna eat breakfast, which breakfast started for me in the pandemic, because I wasn't having coffee, walking the dog, going to the grocery store, and cooking for clients.
Yeah.
It was like I was up, I was walking the dog, having coffee, and then what? Oh, breakfast. So it's like a Saturday every day for me. 'Cause I eat breakfast
That's
or
very,
brunch
very interesting.
on Saturday and Sunday.
Mhm.
But then I had like learning time, and then I'd have lunch.
So now I know where my breakfast went. My breakfast went to you.
Yes, I got your breakfast out. I got your breakfast, and I love
Yeah.
breakfast. I'll have breakfast for dinner.
Yeah.
That was another treat in my family. It was
Yeah.
like making French toast or pancakes for dinner instead
Nice.
of, the spaghetti and meatloaf and But I think we come to find that regularity in our eating is super important. Otherwise we get into the danger zone where we are skipping meals or we're binge eating, and then our body's telling us, oh, I don't have any energy, or I feel weighed down. You know, we're not digesting regularly, we're not eliminating regularly, so then we're just kind of stuck, right? We're like putting our body into fight and flight, pretty much,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. To the point that it actually changed for me that I might eat like only one time a day.
Right.
And that became the new routine. That you will, like, I will have my tea in the morning, I will have my coffee, I'll get on my Zoom calls and working from home from the office and from my home office, and then suddenly it's 4 o'clock and I haven't eaten anything.
Right.
Yeah, and then it would be when you're hungry the whole day, it will be a full meal after, and there is no way after I have that full meal that I will eat anything later on. So the relationship with the psychology part of the food has always been healthy. It's just the adaptation when life have changed. How I adapted with it,
Right.
it kind of shifted for me.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't feel that the guilt that I have is, or let's say the relationship, the psychology that I have with food has a lot of guilt.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I would say the guilt that I have probably started during the pandemic.
Right.
Probably started with me gaining weight. Probably started with the level of my activity changing. So I might have more of um, guilt-related issues or aspect when it comes to my fitness, not to the way that I eat.
That's with food.
Yeah,
you
not
put
to
it
the
more on
food.
the activity
Yeah.
level versus what the intake is.
I used to love working out, like boxing, Zumba, weightlifting, and I need to be in that kind of like competitive environment in order for me to do so. If you actually tell me to work out at home, the only workout that I would do at home is probably stretching or yoga.
Right.
Yeah. Which
Right.
I love doing that. It's not like I wouldn't love doing that, but it's more like that activity level and like the music and knowing that there is a person next to you.
The
I'm
group.
gonna, yeah, the group.
It's
And
about the group.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know, like that motivates me. I need that kind of environment to
I
be.
feel like when you put yourself in that environment with others, I was doing yoga religiously 3 to 5 times a week for 6 years straight.
Mhm.
And I'd get up and I'd be in the studio at 6:30 in the morning. Would you find me in the studio at 6:30 in the morning now? No, and it was the pandemic and lifestyle. It took that all to a halt.
Yeah.
And even when I go back into the studio, I'm worried. I'm like, it's too packed here in LA. It's too busy. I'm gonna get the COVID. Someone's gonna touch me. I'm gonna, suddenly will smack somebody in the face. Like, I don't feel like it's conducive to what I'm trying to do. But will I put my mat out here and be like sculpt yoga queen? Probably not.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to just like ask the universe, hey, present me with this opportunity to get back into this, and what does that look like? And of course it's not going to look like what it used to look like.
Yeah.
But any kind of movement is healthy, and so I'm in the mindset of yes, I want to do this. Not that I should do this, or it's good for me, or it's just like yes, I want to do this. That my body is telling me move.
Mhm.
Move. My hips are tired from either the sitting or the standing or the laying. It's because I need to move.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really interesting that you say this because I think one of the things that I actually had to a little bit grasp lately is more my abilities when I used to be fit. It's
Right.
not the same abilities that I have now. So I cannot go back running. I cannot go back boxing right away. So it's like just about moving. So me being committed to doing my 10,000 steps every single day.
Yeah, you're
and
walking a
setting,
lot.
yeah, and setting my watch, I'm like building on that momentum. I'm trying to give myself, my body, grades of where I am right now, and trying to build from that. Because I cannot go back working out twice a day, 4 times a week, 5 times a week,
Right.
being ripped right away.
Yeah, it's like we never started there.
Yeah.
We started somewhere, but it wasn't right where we left off.
Yeah. And even though that I might, and this is me, I might be judging myself for this, that I would be like, oh my God, actually, walking can be tiring for me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be the kind of person that would work out and lift weights for 90 minutes straight.
Wow. Wow.
Like I can also, that's where the guilt comes in, that I can guilt trip myself about that and be like, how could you allow this to happen? how did you get to this point? But at least I get to walking, I get to the moving, I
Mhm.
get to the stretching. And also during the pandemic, I did have a lot of health issues, and my fibromyalgia diagnosis has been something new that I actually been diagnosed with this year that made a lot of sense for certain pain that I've been dealing with. So it's more like giving my body grace,
Right.
understanding that I'm in a different phase of my life and I have to work with what I have. And if it's right now, moving and just walking, that's what it is.
Right, work within our limits and
Yeah.
respect ourselves and hear ourselves and feel ourselves. And that's like mindful movement, right? We can't just go out and push it to the limit like we used to do.
Oh, I tried.
Like we want to do. You tried.
I tried last summer, and what I did last summer when I went to boxing,
Yeah.
I actually broke my ribs.
My
So I was like,
gosh.
okay, thank you. I know I'm not there.
Girl, I almost
That's why.
fell in the shower today. And then I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, something could break. You know, I'm not just like, I can't just fall and bounce back up like I did in martial arts in my teens.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work that way anymore. So I'm like, maybe I should get a shower mat. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know, and as we grow and as we age, let's talk about age.
Yeah.
You know, our relationship with our bodies are going to change, and we have to understand our limits and our intakes and our abilities are going to evolve with us over time. And it's all related to, you know, how we grew up and the foods we grew up and our movement and how we move through life and how we're a product of, you know, the environment around us as well.
Mhm.
You know, like the pandemic comes up a lot in these talks. And it was interesting that people go back to like baking bread was like this huge thing. And then you talked about your mom baking fresh bread every day.
Mhm.
You know, she had the time to do that. And you give people time, they're going to go back to the very first recipe that was ever recorded in human history, which was making bread.
Yeah.
Can you believe
Yeah.
it?
I used to think that that was like a normal thing. You make bread and you make it from scratch, and our cakes were like we never had a box cake at home.
Right?
Like, never.
You didn't just like walk to the 7-Eleven
No.
and get a chocolate croissant
No.
like I did today as a little
No.
treat.
That was never a thing. Like that was something
Yeah.
that I had to come in like in reality with and actually like figure it out that it was a thing in my 20s when I moved to the US. I was like, what? This is actually what
There's bakeries that
Yeah.
make bread?
No. Like we used to have bakeries, of course.
Right.
But it was like, mom is doing it at home.
That's amazing.
What were we talking about?
I think my mom made like banana bread once. I don't think it was very good. Sorry, mom. I just don't really like banana bread anyways, but yeah, I don't think my mom didn't bake a lot. She would bake like the boxed cakes,
Yeah.
and I have like vivid memories of sitting at the kitchen table, stirring the chocolate cake mix and like licking the spoon or the little
Yeah.
mixer
Yeah.
things, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that was the extent of the baking that went on in my household. So like to close my eyes and picture myself in your mom's kitchen just like floors me.
Yeah.
It just sounds amazing.
Yeah. Mom is like, I'm giving her a lot of shout outs today.
What's mom's name?
Mom Shukri.
Shukri.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm giving her
Yeah.
a lot of shout outs today. And she used to have like this litter book in her kitchen. It's a leather book. She used to write all of her recipes in it. And she used to like write her recipes while she's cooking because my mom taught herself how to cook as well.
Amazing.
So you will open the pages and you will see like, you know, smudges of spices and smudges of honey and smudges of like tomato sauce. And she used to write that when she was cooking at the same time. So she made her progress like that kind of way. And she's an incredible chef.
Wow. And
Yeah.
where's mom live now?
Mom lives in Vancouver, Canada. Hi,
Okay,
Mom.
we're gonna have to get up there and
Yeah.
visit mom, and I want to have
Yeah.
this. I want to have this
Yeah.
bread,
Yeah.
or anything that your mom makes is
Yeah.
probably
She
fantastic.
used to make us this litter cookies that we used to take him to school with us, and she used to like press them with her finger, and like it was like the perfect press in order for her to put an almond on it.
Oh wow!
And it was like cookie almonds that we used to take out home, and sometimes she used to like make them with like coconuts. Like yeah, mom
Look at-
was an awesome chef.
Look at all the love that goes into preparing
Yeah.
food for the people that you love.
Yeah.
you know, we can go right back to that. It's just like you're putting this energy into something that you're going to give to somebody else. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think my love of also cooking for other people came from my mom in
I
that
think
kind
so.
of way.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, she used to take such a huge pride of like whenever we used to have family members coming home or like my friends coming from after school, like until this day, if you go to my mom's place, she will have a full table ready of food from an entree to a salad to fresh pressed juice because she has her own recipes of fresh pressed juice
What?
to cookies, and she always have Tupperwares on the side that you would never leave that home empty.
I'm going to mom's. That's it. I'm going to mom's. I need to be, that's my next vacation, mom.
Yeah.
We're coming.
Yeah.
I want to eat. I want my to-go box.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's so
She sounds
fancy.
like me.
Yeah, she's so fancy with it, by the way.
We're like the same, except
Yeah.
she's probably got way more interesting recipes than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, you
and
and my mom.
I want all the spices. I want all. I don't hold back. Don't whitewash it, is what I call it. Yeah, I don't want the melting pot
Yeah.
version. I want like the real deal. You
Yeah.
know.
Mom, I'm bringing Heidi home.
Yes.
She will love it.
Do you have any practical tips for people for meal planning, grocery shopping, food preparation to help healthy eating more accessible and convenient to people?
Honestly, everything right now is on Google. It's like everything
Google,
is on
she
the internet.
says.
Yeah.
Google it.
Google it. Google it. But I think it's also customize it. Make it fun. I used to make my own menus. I had like a little folder that I used to make like the menu of the week for it. So the more fun I made it, the more excited that I was for like following it.
Right.
And like also making sure that I have enough food also to not waste it. Because I feel like I also, in the beginning, I got into that trap of overloading myself of how many meals I'm going to prepare and how many
Right.
meals I'm going to eat. And I get tired midweek and I
Yeah.
go eat somewhere, and then what's going to happen to that food is going to go to waste.
Right, so be realistic.
Be realistic,
Yeah.
scale it back, and make it fun. Make it fun.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
I went to the grocery store with Elle a couple weeks ago, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Best day of the week for me, by the way.
That was awesome. I bought the wrong
Yeah.
pancake mix. I bought protein pancake mix. My wife is like, this must be for you because I don't eat protein in my pancakes. I'm like, well, they already kind of have protein in them, but this is just like extra.
Yeah.
But I was having so much fun and just having like a moment with you in the grocery store. And that's like true adulting, like real stuff.
And it was a Saturday, right?
I think it was a Saturday night. We're at the S&F,
Yeah.
you know, getting the staples that we need to get through the week. And you like passed by the frozen pizza, like you were going to get some, but then you didn't. And, you know, like we got the yerba mates and the cat treats, you know, we buy the weirdest shit
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
And the funny thing is, I was like following you with the card, and I looked at you and I was like, Heidi, I love you.
I know.
It was like my highlight of the week was like just us going to the grocery store, making it fun.
Yeah.
We went through all of the aisles, and it was just a simple activity.
Yeah.
And it really was the highlight of my week. Thank you so much for taking me there and having that day with me. But also, I think that's part of making it fun.
Making it fun, it is. Like, take your friend to the grocery store if you haven't before. You guys are going to hang out. Get your list of the things that you need. You know, I had like a little sticky note, and you had yours on your phone. Or I think we were both on our phones with our lists.
Yeah, we were both on our phones.
Which I don't like. I like to actually write a list old school,
Yeah.
you know, and cross things off as I go, you know, but make it fun.
Yeah.
You know.
It was really fun. It was really, really fun. And we had really a weird list too.
We did.
Everything on our list was super, super weird.
It was super weird. I don't know if you still have yours, but mine was
I still do.
weird. Yeah, I do. Yeah. And it's, you know, I think I had like juice, I had eggs, but then I had like, you know, I don't know, yerba mates. I had like a few different beverages on there.
Yeah.
Vitamin water for me.
Yes,
I mostly shop for my wife. I'm her personal shopper, and then I just eat at work.
Yeah.
And eat chips and candy and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
But also going with you made me make healthier choices.
Wow.
Frozen pizza was on my list because
That's
I was
right.
like, I'm actually craving frozen pizza. And that night, because I didn't get it, you were like, just get fresh pizza.
Get fresh pizza. That's right.
But guess what I did?
What?
I actually, when we bought the turkey hamburgers,
Yeah.
I made a
thighs.
turkey. Yeah, I made a turkey hamburger when I was home.
You didn't get the fresh
I mean,
pizza.
turkey burger. I don't know why I'm saying hamburger.
Yeah, turkey burger.
Turkey burger, yeah.
Turkey hamburger.
Turkey burger. I made it at home. I was so excited. I made I washed my lettuce. I did like mayo, tomato,
I'm so
ketchup.
proud of her.
Yeah, and I was
Yes.
like, I would have actually ended up with a frozen pizza that night
Look
if
at
we
you.
didn't go together.
So bring your friends
Yeah.
too, make it fun, and you'll make healthier choices.
Yes, I agree.
Well, Elle, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show and
Thank you.
sharing your story with us today. Elle says make it fun.
Make it fun.
Guys, this has been another episode of Mouth Mentality where we talk to everyday people about everyday food. Thank you for listening to Mouth Mentality. Catch us when we dish out the next story.